Hey everyone, welcome to my WordPress Project Management Insights webcast series here on YouTube. I'm Tony Zeoli from Digital Strategy Works, a digital strategy consultancy and WordPress web design and development shop down here in Asheville, North Carolina. So today I want to talk to you just about one of the things that I do first and foremost in terms of project management for all my WordPress projects. When I set up a WordPress site for a client or for myself for some of the individual projects that I'm doing on my own, is that I will add their site to Google Search Console. And some of you might know that as Google Webmaster Tools, but recently they changed the name. But you can still find Google Search Console under the URL Webmaster Tools. Just do a Google search, come up with Search Console, and you will get to a window here. That's what it looks like. And let's click on Search Console here. And what happens here is that you can see all of the sites that I've registered, under Search Console. And let's talk a little bit about one of the sites that I registered, which was Netmix. And we're going to go through that, and we're going to talk about how I registered it, and we're going to talk about registering a sitemap through Google Search Console, so that Google can then more effectively and efficiently crawl your site so that it gets the right information as it's crawling the website, right? So, the one thing that happens here is that Google has, for some reason, asked, and I don't know the specific reason, and I'm going to look for the answer, but when you register your sitemap with Google, you are going to also register it under 4 different domains, right? Under your primary domain by 4 different HTTP, HTTPS, and then HTTP ://HTTPS www, and I'll show you what that looks like. So as you can see, for Netmix, I've registered HTTP, HTTPS, and then I've registered HTTP www and HTTPS www. These are going to redirect in my domain manager for the site, and they're going to redirect right to the HTTP and HTTPS versions. But what happens is Google is going to crawl each individual link and return results for those individualized links with those HTTP or HTTPS and with the www. Generally speaking, I end up looking under the HTTPS version because that's the primary version that I want people to find. So in my domain manager and WP Engine, I have these redirects that happen from HTTPS www to HTTPS : right? So one of the things that I like to do first when I'm working with a WordPress site is I will go and install All-in-One SEO. It's a great search engine optimization plugin for WordPress that you can use to generate a XML sitemap. They have a video sitemap here. If you have the advanced version, the pro version, you can get a video sitemap if you're doing things like a video series and you want to get a sitemap for that. Great. But here is our XML Sitemap Generator. And what happens is it generates a sitemap, and then you want to set the maximum posts per sitemap page to about 1,000. That's the recommended setting from All-in-One SEO once they released this feature a few months ago, predating this webcast. Let me just redo that because I didn't want to check that box off. And so what happens is once you generate your sitemap, it will you can do a bunch of different things here. You can exclude categories, exclude images, exclude pages. You can do all kinds of things with this sitemap. But for all intent and purpose, I just really just generate it one time. I want everything to be in my sitemaps. They just released this new all post types so you can make sure that all your custom post types are in the sitemap too, aside from your pages and posts. And let's just wait for that to refresh. So what will happen is you can view your sitemap using this link, and then you can see that it will list all of the XML files that happen, and it's split post pages, attachments, forums, topics, depending on what plugin you have. I have a forum plugin installed, and here's my video sitemap. So if I want to just add my XML sitemap, basically I just take that sitemap.xml and I can then go into Google Search Console. I can go under crawl, under sitemaps, and I can then add my sitemap here. And you can see add a test sitemap. So I had added that sitemap in the past. There's 1,333 index pages now for that site. I have a couple of errors and warnings. We're not going to talk about that today. Those are things that I need to fix. But for all intent and purpose, it's just a discussion about adding a sitemap to your WordPress site so that Google can track your site more efficiently. You can also do this with Bing. I'm not going to show that to you on this webcast, but you can go to Bing Webmaster Tools, sign up there, and add a sitemap to Bing as well, so that way Bing can have a one-to-one handshake with your website. Now, sitemaps are not necessarily a search ranking signal. You know, what they do is give Google an optimized view of all your pages and posts. So that's very important for you to get Googlebot to track you. And then you can also, resubmit your sitemap maybe after you've done some work to your site and you've got new pages and posts. You can always resubmit your sitemap, right here on the page, or and I'll show you that after I click through here. You could simply, delete that sitemap, maybe add a new sitemap. I know you could test your sitemap, and then let's see, there's add test sitemap. So I could delete my sitemap, but that would delete all my index pages, and then I could add a new sitemap and set that if I wanted to. In terms of other things that you want to know in this panel, you could find out after some time some search analytics for your site. And a lot of people are looking for keywords. What keywords do people use to get to my site? And some people might use Moz or another like Moz Keyword Explorer, or another tool like SEMrush. To find out, to do keyword optimization. But you can do some of these things for free just through Google Webmaster Tools and finding out, somebody was looking for this George Vaughan Goodbye Fly song. And so they used that and they ended up on the Netmix site. It's interesting because this search analytics panel has an impressions view of total impressions that I got on my site for the period in the last 28 days. There's also a click-through ranking. So if I got 1,058 impressions, I got 365 clicks, which is a click-through rate of 34.5%. And then I can see what position I'm predominantly listed at. So Netmix, if somebody searched for the keyword Netmix, it predominantly comes in at the position of 3.4 on a Google search engine results page. So it's a pretty neat tool to be able to have this this sitemap generated from All-in-One SEO, and then adding that sitemap to Google Search Console, right? And the other thing that you can do is you can, and right now you can see that Search Console is a new feature in Google Analytics. I hadn't set that up yet, so it's not showing any data. But if you do want to set it up, you can go into Admin, Property Settings, and you can link Search Console to Google Analytics. Now, a lot of people don't do this, and you should. So you can see that there's this tab right here under your property settings. So for every site that you are setting up, you want to go here, click on property settings, set your site up correctly. Right now I'm viewing as HTTPS and not HTTP. So I'm telling Google Analytics that I'm actually using HTTPS as a prepended to my URL. And then I have a default view of my industry category, and I can enable demographics and interest reporting, which is awesome. I can see what kind of people are coming to visit the Netmix site. And I can use in-page analytics, which we'll get into in another episode. Or I can enable user metrics and reporting. So I have all these turned on, but the most important thing that I'm commenting on today is just adjusting Search Console. So here I have it connected. What happens if it wasn't connected? You would click on connect, and then it would pull up Search Console, and it would pull up a list of all of your URLs. So let's do that. Let's disconnect that and see if we can. Let's see if we can delete that. Right. So let's delete that. Site, and we'll delete that. All right, we deleted that association. So let's go back and do it. Right. So now that association should be removed, and we can see that here. And we want to add that association. So once we add that association, it pulls up Search Console, and I'm going to look for my HTTP Netmix, HTTPS Netmix, and I'm going to link that and click Save. Now, if that wasn't there, I could click Add a Site to Search Console and go ahead and add it. But usually I've added the site already in Search Console before I create the association, so that way it's there. Once I've set up analytics, and I can link the two. So you should see the two linked now. And then in a few days, I should be able to, go into, acquisition, and then go into Search Console, and I should start to see some data here. I'm not seeing, there's some data already populating for some of the landing pages that I'm getting. Let's see under countries. There's countries that are listed, but it's not showing total impressions at the moment. And then devices. But what I'm really after is queries, right? I really want the queries of what people are searching for. Now, I can get that here in Search Console. Those queries, I can go down to Netmix and show you that again. I'll go into HTTPS, and I'll show you in search traffic, and we'll show you in search analytics, what keywords are being used. So, like I said, while some people like to use Moz, Keyword Explorer, and these kinds of things, it's really important that it's not actually showing any queries. So there's no data for those filters. There was data, and I'm wondering if what I just did made an impact, probably, and it's going to have to reset all of that. Probably not a good idea to do that when you've already got a set of data. But this site isn't that important to me, so I'm not too worried about it. But I think in a few days, it will then return all that information again. So it just, overall, just to give you an overview of how to actually do it, not necessarily worried about the data right now on this site. So that is one method that I wanted to show you in terms of Google Search Console and linking the sites. And then the other thing that we wanted to do, we'll talk about in the next session, which is page speed optimization and some of the ways that I do that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.